In this video, we're going to talk about how to close the sale of an apartment or real estate transaction in New York City remotely if you're no longer in New York City or New York State. Hi, my name is John Moss. I'm a partner at Moss & Moss LLP. Our offices are located in the heart of the Flatiron District on Park Avenue South. So there are basically two ways to close a real estate transaction in New York if you're not physically present here. The first, the easiest, is to issue a power of attorney to someone you trust, generally speaking, your attorney, and that person can sign your name for you for the purposes of the transaction. Scary, I realize, but the powers of attorney are limited to the transaction so that individual, be it your attorney, a close friend, your accountant, whomever, can't go and buy a car in your name or some such. They'll need to have a copy of your photographic ID, and they will physically be present at the closing. They'll sign the documents on your behalf, and closing will proceed in normal course. Typically, they'll be in communication with you throughout, get your authorization for anything that may come up at the closing, any surprises, any unusual circumstances, any last-minute requests. But they physically will be at the closing, and they will close. The other way to do it is to pre-sign the documents. So your attorney, you'll name the attorney for the sale, will assemble all the documents for the transaction. They'll send them to you physically, and you'll sign them, physically send them back. The thing is, in New York, physical copies, original wet signed copies, are required for closings, whether it's a co-op, a condo, or a single-family house. And again, depending on the transaction, whether it's co-op or a condo, there's going to be different types of documents that need to be signed. But nonetheless, there are a lot of them. You'll need to sign them in front of a notary, and then you'll physically need to present them to the attorney for the attorney to physically bring them to the closing, because in New York, we do closings in person. It's rather burdensome, and it becomes very difficult. There are circumstances in which it's called for. That we can get into that in another conversation. But the reality is that if you are not able to be physically present at the closing, whether it's co-op or a condo, doesn't matter. The easiest course is for you to issue a power of attorney to someone you trust, again, usually your attorney, and allow them to attend the closing on your behalf. As a reminder, if you're selling real estate in New York City or New York State, generally speaking, you really do need to retain an attorney to walk you through the transaction. Many states in the country really don't require an attorney's participation. New York is one of the ones that do. It really is critical for various reasons. For the structure of the transaction, the structure of the closing, it's really critical for an attorney to be present, to represent your interests, to make sure that everything goes the way it needs to. Speaking of which, if you do need representation for real estate matters, we would be happy to help you. Please feel free to contact our office. Have a great day.